Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Guapish Rule 34. We have all the boys assembled today, every last one of us, that being Nico.
Okay, guys. So, Berlin builds a wall, and it gets quickly torn down. Trump tries to build a wall, and they won't even let him do it. But China gets to have one up for hundreds of years? This is yet another double standard that the West is forced to deal with. In today's video essay...
Our little fascist here going on a bit of a tirade. Now our unironic fascist, as we should say, Tanner.
You know what they say, I like to stay at the YMCA.
Exactly, just as a fascist would. And of course, I'm Jackson, and we are talking about the Switch 2 for one segment, and we're going to talk about other things. But let's start off with the Switch 2 that just recently got announced officially after tons of leaks.
An insane amount of leaks. There was no hype, negative hype.
We knew everything about it before
no one gave a fuck.
Truly an unadulterated amount of leaks. I don't know what the fucking deal is with Nintendo. It's like Smash Bros is kept under lock and key. Fort Knox looks like a fucking sandbox compared to it. Just no one can get information on it. But everything else can just get leaked seemingly at random, I guess. Just we get no pizzazz for it whatsoever, no surprises. We just know everything weeks before Nintendo says anything about it.
That's so true. I'm trying to think, because we didn't hear jack shit about anything from Smash, but then I think when Mario Kart was adding every course from the previous games, that got leaked. Fucking Pokemon shit got leaked. Every
Pokemon game gets leaked weeks before it comes out.
That's so interesting. I wonder what, because it's not... Yeah, that's so... I wonder what the difference there is. Because I don't think you could say, oh, they just respect Smash that much more than, the fucking new console, right?
Yeah.
Presumably, that's not it.
How many of the Switch 2 leaks were from, inside Nintendo, though? Because I know a lot of the leaks were, third-party, controller manufacturers and shit. That were, what I heard is they were upset that Nintendo kept not announcing it, and they were like, hey, we built this stuff fucking months ago.
I don't think that we really have information regarding who exactly it was leaking this stuff. I would imagine they don't want folks to know about that. Right. So whether or not they're from inside Nintendo or not, I don't really know if we're gonna have that information unless just Nintendo fucking puts their head on a pike outside their office.
That's funny. Did we... I assume we all checked out the trailer, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tanner never showed you one, but there was a fake trailer that you should have seen. It was fucking sick. They were leaking, built-in olfactory, fucking, scent sensors so you could, sniff Peach's sweat or something after she got off a run.
Dude, fantastic. I love that. Overall thoughts, I'll go first. Wow, that was anticlimactic. I just
it wasn't much. They didn't give us a lot to work with.
No.
I think this was mostly just them saying hey, this thing exists, shut the fuck up. You'll actually hear about the console in 2 months in their April, or 4 months, whatever fucking April presentation.
It's April. I just want, what the fuck, why is it taking this long?
They announced last year, in fucking summer or some shit, hey, we're gonna talk about the next console this year, near the end of the year. We're gonna have a whole ass direct dedicated to it. We're gonna have a direct a little bit sooner. The new console's not gonna be there. Do not ask for it. It'll be later. And then just the end of the year came and went and didn't hear anything. I would imagine, from what I've heard, that this was something that their shareholders or some shit really pressured them to put out, because they're like, hey, where the fuck is your new console at? And they're like, I guess we'll show something.
Okay, interesting. Do we at least think it'll be relatively close to after that April date that it comes out?
Dude, I don't fucking know. When did the Switch 2 release, or what month? Do they normally have a precedent for what season they release in?
I think if I recall correctly, the first Switch came out March 5th of 2020 or 2019.
Yeah, March 3rd of 2017.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was much sooner than that.
Right. I just knew it was around my birthday.
It literally could be like they have their presentation and then at the end
it's in stores now.
Yeah, in stores now, and the world goes fucking crazy. The lines around Walmart. I do think it's interesting though that this is maybe I'm wrong about. I'm sure I'm definitely wrong about this, but I do think it's interesting that this is like just a direct upgrade. Like I think one thing about a lot of consoles is that they want to like incentivize you to get the new one, but like they're completely discontinuing the old one to a point. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with it. I just think it's interesting. I think there's a topic to be held about, like backporting things for incentive, but like there's basically no value in getting like an old Switch at this point. I'm sure they're going to plummet in price.
Yeah,
pretty soon here.
We see a lot of consoles will go for like you can play like your old games on the new console. That's great. But also a lot of people just don't really tend to use that feature. Most people will just want to get the newest shit. So while it's nice that they're doing that, I don't know how much it'll really benefit them all that much. As far as like, it's called the Switch 2, guys. Were you aware of that? It's called the Switch 2. That's pretty sweet. People are complaining about it. They think it's weird. I think it's fine. I don't really care all that much personally.
I agree, it's weird. The logo fucking sucks. The logo is dog shit, dude.
They just really want to hammer home the fact that this is a new console. They do not want to have a repeat of the Wii U situation.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. At the very least, make the 2 the S in Switch.
Yeah, that could work.
This guy's cooking.
Yeah, what I've heard is that the Switch 2 is going to be about as powerful as a PS4 Pro.
That's right. Jackson told you that.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Well, yeah, we also, again, this is all unconfirmed speculation, but we can probably assume. I think the Steam Deck is around a base PS4, or a little bit less than a base PS4, so potentially it could be quite a bit faster, and because it is like, well, I guess technically the Steam Deck is too, but I was going to say it's like a dedicated operating system specifically for gaming. It could actually be even faster than that just because it's like optimized for this one specific purpose.
Yeah.
So we'll see, dude. They're planning on having some like AAA games. I know Call of Duty signed a contract, like a 10-year contract to have all new Call of Duty games on Switches, which is interesting because they kind of run like shit on modern consoles, like so how the fuck is that going to work on a Switch that's from a generation ago? I did also notice, too, in that, I think I sent, like, that stupid image about comparing the performance of the Switch 2 in, like, GameCube performance terms, and it showed a massive jump in performance between docked and handheld mode, and there really wasn't that much of a thing. There was definitely an increase when you went from 1080p or 720p to 1080p from handheld to docked on the Switch 1, but the Switch 2 is like a massive increase from what it looks like, which I find quite curious. Like, it literally looked like a 50% or plus increase in performance potentially, which is insane.
That does actually like excite me, even though this trailer overall didn't.
Yeah, I want to see if you can actually run Scarlet and Violet at a decent, like, 30 FPS consistently.
Yeah.
I will say, a PS4 Pro, like, at that point, you're running, like, pretty good-looking games at 60 frames per second. Like, not, like, massive games, but, like...
No, you can run some fucking sick games. You can like run like Red Dead Redemption 2 at a consistent like it's like that's a fucking gorgeous looking game. Like you can basically run any triple. I mean, they're still releasing like brand new AAA games for like the PS4 times too, because there's so many people that just haven't upgraded to a PS5. So I'm certain that it's going to be a very similar case where like if it can run on a PS4, it can run on a fucking Switch easily.
Yeah, I wonder if this is something I've been thinking about recently, which is that studios, like, people are more and more asking for like 60 frames per second. That is becoming a more consistent desire of console gamers, and also we're seeing these like massive file sizes for games that people are increasingly complaining about. And so I wonder if the industry is going to enter like a period where optimization becomes a much more emphasized part of the development process, and that becomes a skill set that more studios are going to actually like care about.
I could see that, and there's also I'm seeing a lot more discourse recently, specifically with this has been a thing for a long time, but I see people blowing up a lot more about it more recently, with the like hyper realistic versus stylized graphics debate, and that goes very hand in hand with that. Like, you can have a game that looks really good, and like Wind Waker is a great example. I think Wind Waker is still a great looking game to this day, and it's all because of its, you know, very unique stylized graphics. And some other game that was going for like an artistic, or not artistic, a realistic art style from the same era looks like shit today.
Yeah.
I do think there's, of course, value in realism. I think it is a different art style in and of itself, and I think it looks gorgeous in some games. You know, like Red Dead Redemption 2, some like other newer games, like the new COD game looks fucking great.
Yeah, but you know, it's just a lesser value altogether.
I don't know about
like,
that.
there's just substantially less artistic merit in doing so.
I think it balances.
And quite
out.
frankly, anyone who goes for that should be shunned out of the industry.
Okay, let's fucking shut down Nico here. There's definitely some value in realism. I think just the tech behind it is super impressive. But also, it is insanely resource intensive and taxing. Like, even to the point of like a lot of AAA games just run like shit. Even like the best hardware you can get. Like fucking Cyberpunk 2077, great looking game, big fan. It's intensely buggy, pretty unoptimized. I have a fucking pretty beastly PC. Like, this was the top of the line PC 2 years ago, basically. Like, the best you could get with your money. And it runs like shit on Cyberpunk. I barely get over 60 FPS in that game sometimes, which is fucking crazy. It is like, if I'm in like a densely populated area, I'm getting like 40 FPS on a top of the line PC. That's fucking ridiculous. And of course, people are supplementing this now with all this, like, you know, frame generation technology and shit with a lot of newer GPUs. And I feel like we're gonna get to a tipping point at some point where, like, you know, like actual like raster performance is gonna, you know, outpace that, and it's gonna go back to what Tanner was saying, where we're gonna start getting a bigger push where like we cannot keep releasing these games that are like 300 gigabytes and insanely unoptimized and have to have this stupid AI frame gen bullshit so you can actually run it at a decent FPS, because like it's just fucking stupid.
And so I'm thinking, like, it might be that the Switch 2, at the power it's at, is going to come in at the right moment in the industry where this optimization surge happens, where, assuming they don't have some dog shit framework that makes porting impossible, that it's actually going to enjoy probably the best third-party support and third-party performance on the system that a Nintendo console has ever had.
I hope so.
I am just curious though. Like, yeah, I heard, like, probably like a couple generations ago, I remember hearing like the 60 frames was something that like a lot of gamers were pushing for, but I haven't heard that really being a thing at all as of late. What's like, are there actually any big AAA games recently that don't go for 60 frames?
Some of them go for 30 if you're running at 4K mode.
Okay.
And that's pretty
On the
pretty
gaming
common.
podcasts I listen to, this is something that comes up a lot.
Maybe they just play shit games. Do you consider that? Like, what the fuck are they playing?
Red Dead Redemption 2 and
Final Fantasy
Beauty Mode or
Rebirth.
some shit on the PS5. Yeah, all of these like console games. Well, obviously this isn't an issue at all on PC because you can set it whatever the fuck you want. But in consoles, yeah, a lot of them have like either performance mode where you run at 60 FPS, or you have like you know, presentation mode where you run at 30 and a higher resolution with more details and stuff. So that's pretty common.
Do you guys think the Switch 2 is going to outsell the Switch?
No.
I doubt it, personally. Unless we get another pandemic on our hands. I know Nintendo's been potentially cooking up another one of those. Just wait until the next Animal Crossing game comes out. That's when you know the next pandemic is right around the corner.
It's crazy how abandoned that Animal Crossing game is, though. Like, holy shit. Fucking, the community is still mauling to this day about it.
People have turned hard against it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a good game, but, like, they just stopped giving a shit about it so fucking quickly. Like, it has so much potential. It's missing so much stuff from previous games that would have been absolute layups to add in, and they just don't fucking do it. It doesn't make any sense.
They got their bag already, dude. It's the fucking second best-selling game on the console. Like, what more do they have to gain from this point? I feel like anyone who would own Animal Crossing has it already.
Yeah, I don't even fucking play that shit. I have it. I played like 2 hours of it, and I still have.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because obviously the Switch sold fucking gangbusters. I think their second best-selling console behind the Wii.
I mean, it's just like a revolutionary console as a concept. Like, it is just like the whole selling point of it is crazy good, and this is just the same thing but slightly better. But I think a lot of people are just going to keep their Switches and not upgrade. Like, I have no interest in upgrading my Switch. I barely fucking touch the thing. It's going to take a lot to get me to actually push that penny, you know. But like the Switch as a console itself, I was very interested in getting. So I guess we'll see.
I do think the fact that this console is going to be substantially more powerful than the Switch will definitely make me more apt to want to get games for it, because like initially when I got my Switch, I was getting like a bunch of like third-party games and stuff like that for it, but like eventually I started realizing, man, these games just kind of run like shit on this thing. So I'd much rather just get it on like my Xbox or something instead if I'm going to play this. But if this new console is going to be much stronger, then yeah, I would definitely want to have that as an option just so I can play in like handheld mode and shit like that whenever I want to go somewhere.
Yeah. It's so tough to say. It depends. If it has like, they wouldn't do this, but if it had like an insane launch lineup, like let's say it's the Mario Kart 9 they showed off, Metroid Prime 4, probably wouldn't be a new Mario, but let's just say they, remaster Odyssey, and then a new Star Fox or a new F-Zero, something like that. That's the launch lineup, and then a handful of decent third-party games, and then they come out, drop their dicks on the table and say $350, then we're kind of cooking, boys.
Yeah, so if they smoke crack and I also huff mad copium, I'll buy it. That's not gonna fucking happen, buddy.
I know. That's why that's why I said it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Do we think Metroid Prime 4 could be a launch game for it, though?
I doubt it. When was the last time they announced that, hey, we decided to remake the game from the ground up, we're restarting it again?
Well, that's what I'm kind of wondering, though. Like, is that why they haven't talked about it hardly at all? It's gonna be a Switch 2 game?
Maybe.
Guys, I have an insane soul read, and that is, in fact, that Hollow Knight Silk Song will, in fact, be a launch title to the Switch 2, and it'll be a Switch 2 exclusive. I think this is a kind of a non-starter by going back a little bit to the backporting thing we talked about a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if they're going to go the same route as other consoles have gone, with like the enhanced, like the PS5 enhanced edition or the Xbox X optimized edition, that type of shit. Because I think that shit's fucking annoying. If I just want to buy like one copy of the game and it just, it'll just be the same fucking thing regardless. Just like download a different game, whatever. It's not on the disc anyways. Who cares? Rather than there's like two separate entities of the game, one for the new console and one that's not. I don't understand why they do that. Obviously, it's just like to make people want to potentially buy it twice, but like that shit's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like, they could have, like, you could buy Minecraft for the Switch, but then they're going to release Minecraft for the Switch 2 and give you the middle finger.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Nico, do you know if you bought Breath of the Wild on the Wii U eShop, could you download it on the Switch with your same Nintendo account and it would be like the Switch version of that game?
I don't think so, no. Nintendo normally isn't super hip and down with that sort of thing. Like, I don't even, for like the Wii U and 3DS, they like shared eShops or something like that, right? And you had to buy things separately on each of them?
I can't remember, dude.
Okay. I've never purchased anything off a Nintendo eShop before prior to the Switch. Well, that's a lie, actually. I bought Cave Story on a DS.
There you go.
For a 3DS.
Yeah, it's impossible. I can't.
That is one thing I hope for. I really hope that they really revamp the eShop for the Switch 2, because on the Switch it's fucking atrocious. It is the worst digital marketplace I've ever seen on a console.
Dude,
is it the worst?
I want to see the UI. I don't give a shit about what the console looks like itself. I want to see the fucking UI, like the operating system the Switch 2 runs. Hopefully it's not just the same fucking Switch one, just slightly enhanced, because I fucking hate the Switch operating system. That shit is super antiquated looking. And that's why I care about it. I like software. I'm a software engineer, so that makes sense. I want to see what that shit looks like. There's so much they can do with it. Like, what the fuck is a stupid news tab? Who cares? Why is there always a notification on that shit? I want to go and click on 50 fucking news articles to get rid of that shit. Fuck off.
Yeah, it is kind of bizarre. And, like, the backgrounds for the Switch as well. Like, I hope that that's just, like, the general homepage is something that they do revamp on the Switch too. Because, like, it has, like, no character to it whatsoever. Like, they have a section where it's like, oh, check out your background. So you can select, it's only light and dark mode. That's it. They never added anything else. It very much so seems like they were gunning to, but nah, that's all they got.
It's basically, like, the identical home menu since, like, the original DS.
Yeah.
And they've just carried it forward on every single piece of hardware since then.
I mean, the Wii U had like a fun thing with like the plaza and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That was like inside one of the apps, wasn't it?
I never owned a Wii U, so.
No, the Wii U still had like, the bubbles and tiles and shit.
Okay.
All they have to do, though, like, just copy what every other console does. Just, if you're hovering over some game tile, just put, like, some piece of promotional art in the background or something. It just makes it look 10 times better and 10 times more immersive. Like, yeah, let's just have it gray or white. Fuck off. What the hell is that?
Yeah. Mario Kart 9?
Dude, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Me too.
Dude, I don't play Mario Kart.
So, like, the things people have pointed out is, like, seeming to be the gimmicks for this one are 24 racers, which is fucking insane. That sounds so chaotic that I love it.
I'm a big fan. 8 is my favorite Mario Kart because of how absolutely chaotic it is. So if they can bring that energy back, then oh boy, are we looking good.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
and
8,
then,
fuck, Wii, that's what I meant. Wii,
gotcha.
not 8.
I do love 8, but I wonder if they're gonna keep the anti-grav mechanic. And then people have pointed out in the one track they showed us, there's a weird new thing on, like, new pickup on the track. Some people have speculated that it appears to be a fuel canister, and so they're thinking there's gonna be like you can boost whenever instead of needing a mushroom item, and you'll just have a fuel tank that you can use to do boosts whenever.
No,
I thought you were going to be an entirely different round and going to be like, it's a fucking racing sim. Because you guys, I'm sure, don't know anything about like actual like racing simulators, like, games like Forza Motorsports.
Do you have to take like pit stops in it to refuel yourself? Yeah,
like, so, having fuel in your car takes up weight, for example. So there will be like optimizations people will do where they'll start out with like a varying amount of fuel in their gas tank, and that depends on how many laps you can do. And if you have to, refuel for a pit stop and things like that. I thought you were going that direction.
That would be horrible. That would be so
It would not fit the game at all, but I think it'd be very funny.
Okay, what about this, though? What if they use the F-Zero fuel boost sort of mechanic, where you have a health as well as it's a shared boost meter, and so when you're racing, you can fuel up to get boost, but if you use your boost, you lose health.
That would be interesting. I think that would be a bit too much of a departure from what Mario Kart is, and also
they're sick of people asking for F-Zero. They're just making Mario Kart F-Zero.
That would be funny. You guys like that weird Donkey Kong?
Oh yeah, he looks fun. They decided to redesign Donkey Kong, Jackson.
I couldn't care less about the designs. Yeah. I'm not going to play the fucking game anyways. What's the one thing I didn't like about the Switch? And this is, grand statement, this is the one thing I didn't like about the Switch. But I bought so many fucking games for that console that I don't give a shit about. I bought fucking Smash, I bought Mario Kart, I bought fucking Animal Crossing, all this shit, and I never fucking played any of them. What's up with that?
I don't know, dude. Why did you do that?
Their marketing's too good, goddammit. They really just sold me on playing all these fun games with my friends, and I just never fucking did.
I feel you, dude. There are a lot of games where I'm like, damn, it'd be so fun to play these with my pals, just gather around the TV, play some fucking Nintendo, and we just never did any of that shit. We tried playing Mario Party one time. That didn't end well.
Alas, there was the funniest button of all time, and unfortunately it just did not work out for all of us.
Womp womp.
Okay, so here's something I'm curious about. Speaking of, this whole hype Nintendo shit going on, what is the first time you guys felt like you were really hyped for a video game release?
I immediately, the first one that comes to my head is fucking Destiny, unironically. I thought that shit looked so cool in the promotionals. Yeah. I thought the entire idea behind, like, a space fucking FPS MMO was just very interesting to me at the time. And I even remember, fucking saving up money, and I walked from my house, all the way over to fucking GameStop. You know where my parents' house is. And it was quite the walk.
That's a journey right there.
Yeah, just to go and buy Destiny. And then I came home. I brought one of my buddies with me, too, and we just I was, reading the promotional shit on the inside of the disc. I was going crazy, and I fucking played that shit for like 2 hours, and I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy good. I'm a big fan.
Dude,
Nice.
I'm right there with you. I was reading up so much on Destiny before it came out. I was so fucking hyped. I had to work up the courage and just wear my mom down to get her to finally allow me to have internet on my Xbox so that I could play Destiny.
What? You
Yeah.
didn't have internet on your Xbox?
No, she did not like the idea of me doing that at all, man. And so I finally managed to do it. I also had to get a new Xbox as well. I had to get rid of my old one because Destiny required a certain amount of space on it in order to play. And so, mine was only, a shitty-ass, 4 gigabyte one, so I had to, upgrade it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that totally reminds me. I'm gonna fucking go. We can talk about this topic again briefly, but I want to fucking
Yeah, I can circle back.
not forget about this one. How much storage space are we gonna have on the new Switch here? Because the current one has absolute dog shit storage space. It's like fucking 32 or 64 gigabytes stock.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say, I think it's only, it's only, 16 or 32 in it.
It's an offensively low amount of storage, and especially
Yeah.
this is a PS4 Pro level of performance. Red Dead 2, that shit's 100 fucking gigabytes. We're gonna need it has to release with 256 minimum, and that's still an offensively low number for it. You can get a fucking 1 terabyte micro USB card. Shut the fuck up, Nintendo. Give us 512 minimum. They're probably still gonna Jew us with 128 gigs and tell us to buy their fucking specially branded 256 gigabyte micro SD card, but I'm very scared about that too.
The fact that they have their own special SD cards that you can get is very funny because they just have a Mario mushroom or a Triforce on it. They're no different from a normal ass SanDisk that you can pick up. They're just $20 extra for something you will never look at.
Yeah, it's dumb. I'm scared about that though. That's going to be a big fumble on their part, but I can see it. I'm going to be really fucking surprised if it's less than 128 gigs. If it launches with 64 gigs of internal storage, I'm going to bust a gut.
I could very much so see 64. So in fairness, with the Switch, you don't need to worry as much about internal memory because everything is should just be on the cartridges, so you shouldn't have to worry too much. However, especially with the third-party games, that wasn't as big of a thing that Nintendo was really regulating, and because of that, a lot of them would just be here's the fucking cartridge. We only were able to fit 4 gigabytes on it though, so fuck you, download a 64 gigabytes of the rest of the game.
And that's what I'm talking about with the more powerful games. I'm just going to keep using Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example because it's just a good game for an example. The whole reason those games are so big in the first place is because there's a billion different versions of all these different textures. All these textures are super resource intensive. They're just really big fucking high storage textures.
Yeah.
And there's tons of them for fucking everything. It's there's the minutia. There's 15 different fucking 4K wood textures that'll take up 10 gigabytes. Not that extreme, obviously, but there's gonna be tons of these games on it, and it's gonna just blow up the storage incredibly quickly. They have, hopefully there's some plan. Maybe they even have I doubt it, but there's a fucking Nintendo branded external hard drive you can hook up to the fucking dock or some shit, maybe. Because if they're going to give us the power to run these much more intensive games that require a lot more storage, because that's why they're more intensive games, because they require more storage, because they use all these HD textures and shit. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to support that somehow.
Yeah, so I just checked. The Switch OLED model had 64 gigabytes of storage. So presumably that means 128 minimum on the Switch 2, yeah?
I think it could definitely still be 64 gigabytes minimum. Hopefully it's
so
128
insane.
minimum. 128 is still an offensively low amount.
What's funny, so I'm seeing here base Switch 32. After the system files and stuff, you have 25.9 gigabytes of usable storage, which means if you wanted to buy The Witcher 3 for the Switch on the Nintendo eShop, you literally could not download it all because it is 31.3 gigabytes.
Very funny.
Yeah, they just click the buy button, they just link you directly to the page to buy their micro SDs.
Yeah. My first type.
Yeah, going back.
I don't think this is technically the first one, but this is the one that most comes to mind in the spirit of this. And it's actually more embarrassing than being hyped for Destiny.
How is that possible?
I was massively hyped for Evolve.
But that's a good game!
Listen, man. I'm the biggest Evolve defender in the world out here. I fucking love that game. It had very obvious problems, and if they were smarter, they would have launched it free to play from the get-go. But unfortunately, it came out and it crashed and burned because it just wasn't able to find that audience and cultivate it fast enough. But yeah, I was fucking pumped for that game, and I was so into it, dude. I got, the pre-order with you get the bonus monster right at the beginning, and then I grinded it out. I got all the characters, bought all the DLCs. I was in deep, man.
Yeah, I love that shit. I played a decent amount with some of my friends back in the day. Of course we didn't get it until it came out for free on Games with Gold, but...
Yeah. It's a fun listen, my statement would be, if you have a monster player who knows what they're doing, and 4 hunter players who know what they're doing, one of the best multiplayer experiences out there. The problem was, how often are you winding up with all 5 players in the proper roles where they know what they're doing?
Yeah.
It's. I just remember, one of the podcasters I listened to this week, she brought up Evolve, and she said some shit where it's like, dude, the monster is so underpowered, you would just lose immediately as a monster. I'm like, you're a fucking retard. Everyone was complaining that the monster was too easy to win as. She's just genuinely stupid or something, I guess. She was
probably
straight.
just, sitting there, where the fucking, people, dropped off their ship at and was immediately trying to kill them, and then she got fucking destroyed.
Yeah, that was also a big part of the problem. The monster, very easy to learn how to play well immediately. The hunters took more work. And so, even at the early, skill-based matchmaking games, you were getting run over by and not even run over, because a good monster player, what they do is they run away for 15 to 20 minutes, leveling up to level 3, and then they just come in and raffle stomp you.
Exactly.
But good game, awesome character design.
Is that game still around?
No.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure, isn't that the one that shut down?
Yeah, it shut down, and then they re-released a free-to-play version of it on Steam, which I think it technically probably still has servers going, but it's not a thing. They're not supporting it anymore. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the character design very strong. The monsters are cool, but I actually think the characters are a lot cooler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was probably the first game that I can recall being really, really hyped for.
Tanner, can you go beat the shit out of Sandwich and make her shut the fuck up?
Put a fucking muzzle on her?
I don't know what to do. She's in a different room with the door closed.
Tell your girlfriend to hold her.
Yeah, to spin her down for 2 hours.
Yeah. She'd probably still manage to meow even if I do that.
Damn.
I'm gonna try bringing some food into her real quick, see if that does anything.
There you go.
I'm curious how Sandwich has adjusted to the new place.
I'm assuming poorly.
Well. Oh, okay. We're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum here.
Okay,
Dude, what's
I'm
up?
back.
How has Sandwich adapted to the new place so far?
Oh, dude. She's back to what she was more like in Texas, where she won't shut the fuck up ever. I don't know what the deal is.
Sounds
She doesn't
right.
have 5 other cats, frankly, to chase around and play with constantly.
That's probably part of it.
She was going ballistic at the house, too, when she was alone.
Yeah, well.
Maybe you should get another one.
Doesn't your girlfriend have a dog?
She does, but he's a forest dog. He likes living in the forest, so he stays at her mom's place.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you're fucking locked outside or something all the time.
I not locked out, but genuinely, he just likes being in the woods.
Okay.
Fair enough, dude. Yeah, no, get your girlfriend to get a cat too.
Yeah.
I probably would just go with dog. It'll keep Sandwich occupied much better.
There you go.
Dogs are so much more work though than another cat. Dogs are so much more work.
They're also just so loud.
True.
Yeah.
Well, not all dogs.
Potentially. Who knows?
I'm sure there are quiet breeds of dog.
Yeah. Alright, so going back to the topic at hand here. So my very first video game hype that I had experienced.
I thought it was Destiny 2.
It was Destiny 2. I wasn't very hyped for the first Destiny, but the second one, they had me by the balls.
Nobody was hyped for Destiny 2.
Dude, I was very hyped for it. No, I'm kidding. So, mine was actually Skyward Sword. Now, I know that not many people like.
That's more embarrassing than Evolve, actually.
No, it's not. Skyward Sword kicked ass. I'm tired of this historic revisionism that fucking Aaron Hansen, the cheap hack fraud himself, has started just because he can't fucking read anything and is like, I like it when I can just fucking walk around this world and maybe blow something up and then there's a man behind it. That's pretty fun. I like those types of games. Well, guess what, fucker? You can like point your sword into the sky and call it a hot woman to do your bidding. That's kick ass, alright? I prefer that way more. And like flying around the sky, that shit was sweet as hell too. I was a big fan. Back in those days, I had the Game Informer magazine, okay? They had the Skyward Sword edition of it that came out. And I fucking hung on to that thing for years, just pouring through it, even after I already had the game, because I was just like, this game is so cool. I like looking at it. That shit was fucking sweet. I was a big fan. I like the little jelly blobs that you could get. I think there was a girl who you could romance. You had several romance options at that, which was really fun. They brought back the hand in the toilet. I was hysterical at that, laughing hysterically at that. It was just a gay old time all around. I was a big fan. And Groose is in it! I love Groose. He's a fun guy.
I guess it was like historical revisionism because it was like very well reviewed when it came out, and then everyone turned on it, right?
Yes, people liked it a lot. I thought the
funny.
swordplay was a lot of fun too. I had a gay old time with that. People began, no, it doesn't work. But it does. It works fine. Fuck you. I did, however, think the stabbing mechanic in it didn't work fantastic, but everything else was fine. But yeah, there we go. That's all the games that we were hyped for, I guess.
I legitimately don't know if I've really been hyped for any game since then. Well, that's a lie. I think I was hyped, unironically. This is another fucking, collar of your shirt puller here, but fucking Scarlet and Violet, I was actually quite excited for too. Yeah. The promotional material, not super interested in that, but I just thought the idea of an open world Pokemon game was very interesting. I think I was really early in buying that game. Like, I think I literally bought it day one. I went to a GameStop, I think I even pre-ordered it, and I went to pick it up at GameStop with Nico.
Yeah, did you go with Dylan and I to pick it up?
Yeah, I did. We all picked it up together. Yeah. I remember that. And yeah, I think that's like the only time I've ever actually done that with a game, is like when I pre-ordered it manually and then when it picked it up on like release day a day early. That game fucking sucked, obviously. I think it was fun, but it was an absolute disaster. Unfortunate, dude. Fucking
yeah, I never finished that shit. I got like right up until the very end of the game, like right when you get to the fucking like Paradise Zero, whatever the fuck that crater is called, where you get to finally see the Paradox Pokemon. Whoa, they're finally. I just gave up right there. I didn't even really do any shit there. It was very funny. I wasn't that. I mean, it's a Pokemon game, so I was appropriately hyped for it, as I am with every Pokemon game. But like the fact that it was open world, I was very not super into, because I'm not a big open world guy. That said, I was very hyped for Elden Ring. That one paid off, but Scarlet and Violet, not so much.
Yeah, I didn't do all the extra content. I fucking beat the story and then I never played it again. Didn't buy any DLC. Disappointment, unfortunate. The control scheme in that game was wacky as fuck too. Like every time I think like maybe I want to play that game again, I just think I have to relearn the control scheme. I don't want to fucking do that shit. That control scheme is terrible. Oh yeah, No Man's Sky too. That's another one.
You're getting bamboozled left and right, dude.
I got scammed on No Man's Sky. I bought that shit day one, and it was fucking trash. I unfortunately played it for like 3 hours the day it came out, and I could not refund it at that point.
No wonder you've lost your childlike wonder.
Yeah, I'm no longer interested in any games until they've released. I'm just not into them anymore,
It's so simple, dude. You just need to be excited for the games I'm excited for, because I have never been burned by a game, except for the times I have been. Also true.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was excited for stuff like Mario Kart 8 or Smash Brothers Ultimate, but
Oh, I mean, I was ripe hyped for Ultimate, okay? I was fucking there in the trenches during every single fucking trailer that dropped. I was watching the live streams before I had to fucking go to work in, like, an hour at the crack of dawn, okay?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess, like, to me, that's just me being excited for a game. Like, hype has to be like, oh, I'm putting my personal reputation on the line for believing in this game.
Guys, I don't know if you're aware of this. There's a little game coming out called Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let me just say, I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Right.
Guys, GTA 6. if GTA 6 comes out and it costs $100, will you guys buy it?
I mean, I'm not gonna buy it in general. I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't care either.
I'm interested in it just because I do think GTA 5 is fun. I never like went through and played the entire story, but I do think it's a fun world just to fuck around in, waste time. I think the idea behind the multiplayer aspect of GTA 5 is cool too. And if I got some buddies to play with me, I legitimately could see myself getting very interested in it and like invested. It just never happened. This one though, if they nail the car shit in this game, I'm playing it. Even if it's $100, I'm in that bitch.
I did play GTA 5 a bit just because, again, it was another free game on Xbox Gold. That was the fucking shit. I loved it when they had that. They discontinued it now. Oh, well. But I did play it a decent amount back in the day. But, like, I thought that, like, you know, the sandbox elements were really fun. I like just dicking around in it. But, like, my friends just wanted to do, like, all these shitty-ass missions and, like, heists and stuff I just didn't care about whatsoever and had, like, poorly implemented stealth mechanics and shit like that shoehorned everywhere. So I just didn't... I lost interest fairly quickly with it.
Yeah. I'm interested in it as like a cultural event that I will watch from the outside. I'm not actually like interested in it as a game is the thing.
I'm interested in it as a game where I can buy and modify cars and drive around in an immersive open world. I don't give a fuck about the story. I just want to have a cool game where I can buy a bunch of cars, have them displayed in a cool garage, and fuck around.
Nice.
So I think that aspect of it, like from a car enthusiast perspective, I think it's cool. I think GTA 5, for what it is a pretty decent car game. Like they even have like racing and shit in it. Like, you know, it appeals to car guys, and if they fucking dig into that deeper, I'd be excited for it. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Are there any games you guys are currently hyped for, or what would they need to announce that would instantly put you in hype mode?
Oh, Silk Song, obviously. I think that's really the only big one I'm currently excited for. Like, the other game that like they would have to announce so that I would be excited for is new Smash Bros. That would be sweet. I'd really like a new Arc system game that's based off like one of like the really big anime. Like if they made like a One Piece Fighters, that shit would be fucking amazing, and I would be playing the shit out of that. Even if they made like a Dragon Ball Fighters 2, I'd still think that would be... I'm sure I'd still enjoy it, but yeah, like even if they dropped like a fucking Naruto Fighters, I'm sure I'd still pick that up. Mm-hmm. Even like don't give a shit about Naruto.
What about you, Jackson?
No, not really. I'm not really, as much as I'd like to say, I really am not like that much of a gamer. Like I've got the games I play consistently. I don't really keep up with news. I don't really care about any of like the new releases. Legitimately the only game I can think of, I'm even like have a modicum of hype for, and I wouldn't even say it's hype. I'm just like cautiously intrigued. There's like some fucking gacha game that's supposed to be like an anime GTA, and I think it's kind of a funny concept. It's probably going to be an absolute dumpster fire, but I think it's called Neverness to Everness or some dumb shit.
I do not imagine those things combining and working out well at all.
Some of the promotional stuff looks good, but you know, it's all promotional stuff. It's probably going to be ass, like most gacha games are. It's going to be a fucking Genshin clone. But you know, I don't give a shit about this type of stuff, so I'm cautiously intrigued in that. I couldn't care less about anything else, to be honest.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had a great answer, and then I thought up the question to ask you guys, and in the 3 seconds it took me to think up how to word the question, I forgot my answer.
Damn.
What a game that... there's no game currently that I'm, like, hyped about. And it was a game where I'm like, oh yeah, if they announce this, I'm fucking rock hard, dude.
Say another Bomberman. You know it's true.
Oh yeah, another Bomberman. Holy shit.
Yeah, if they announce a VR immersive Sword Art Online, I'm in that bitch. If it is exactly how the show goes.
Yeah, it's exactly as the show where I get trapped in the world and I can't escape.
Yeah, no, it's with an armed assassin that my parents at gunpoint. If I take out the headset, they shoot him.
I'm very frustrated that I can't think of what the fuck it was. What are some games I like? I think it was the fourth one of some series, but I can't think of it.
Metroid Prime 4.
No.
Damn.
Yakuza.
I haven't played any of the Metroid Primes. I haven't played any of the Yakuzas either. It wasn't like a new Star Fox, although I do love Star Fox.
Garten of Banban.
Huh?
Damn.
This is so sad. I had a good, interesting, like, fun. Oh, that's a personality thing for Tanner answer, and it's fucking gone.
Panzer Dragoon.
It'll just come to you later, and Nico can add it in post awkwardly.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I remembered what it was.
And there's
Oh, that's fun. That reminds me, actually, that I think a new Nier game would be pretty badass.
That would be cool.
They'll make one eventually. I just want a new one that isn't like, some fucking gacha game that I have to spend like $400 in just so I can understand all the fucking lore. I don't know if that's true. I never played the game personally. I don't know how generous they were with the gacha pulls in that, but I'm just assuming it wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think a new Nier game would be cool too, even though I don't know anything about the lore and I've never played any of them really, except for the first 30 minutes of Automata.
Automata, yeah.
Dude, I want a new fucking Street Pass.
There we go.
I want to give me Sunset Overdrive 2. That would be cool, but it's not.
You said Street Pass, and I thought you were saying like the shit that was on like the 3DS.
Yeah.
Like yours. Like,
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, I want Street Pass on the fucking Switch too. That's gonna be hype.
Give me a second Tomodachi life.
Yeah, second time. That is so tragic that I can't fucking think of what it is. Give me Zombie U2. Fuck.
DS kittens, except Switch 2 kittens.
You were probably going to say some shit like a new God of War.
No.
Spider-Man 3.
No.
Bummer.
See, it was definitely something where it's like, oh, that'd be surprising if they said they were gonna make that. Yeah, there's no hope. It's never coming to me.
Onimusha 4. I can't wait.
It's so insane that I cannot think. Like, it popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I should say this, and then just gone, dude.
I guess to conjure up a game that doesn't exist, but a hypothetical game that I think would be interesting and would get me hyped is an SCP related game. That fucking whole sphere is just absolutely jacked to the tits with ideas for movies, books, games specifically. There's so much they can do with this, and games have capitalized on it, like abiotic factors and an in-release game currently, or in development, early access game, I should say. That looks pretty interesting. It uses a lot of SCP stuff. There's Lethal Company that takes a lot of inspiration from SCP. Control, I think, is the closest thing to like a AAA SCP game we have. I just think there's a lot they could do with that topic, and I think like an actual like dedicated SCP game that focuses on with like a decent budget could be very interesting if it if it plays out well. Because I just think there's so much they could do with it. I just think it's a very cool concept, and I just want to see like an actual like fleshed out good game with it. So a bunch of like low budget indies that I don't really care for.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just how would like the rights for that sort of stuff work at all?
Well, it's all just public domain shit, right?
Okay, like if you like put your stuff on like the SCP boards or whatever the fuck, is it just like public domain now? Like you don't own the rights to any of it?
I think that's the rule to be allowed to publish to the specific board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like anybody can use it for anything. That's why there are so many just like random SCP games, because there isn't like you can like take inspiration, like direct inspiration to like with fucking Lethal Company. The Mask SCP is like a blatant copy of another one. Like you don't have to even be subtle about it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Movies too, man. Imagine SCP movies. Come on. Trying to escape from 173 or some shit.
Yeah, I personally I don't know any of the SCP's numbers off the top of my head, so.
That's the fucking statue one that you have to look at.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the most famous one.
Is there an SCP where
Yes.
you just okay?
Yeah. If not, then you should be writing this down and putting it on the website shortly after.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is there one that like you don't have object permanence for it? Like, if you're not currently looking at it, you forget it exists.
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
There's dumb shit. Like there's like a one that's like a bucket of blood, and it's just like if you empty the bucket, it just automatically like fills itself up again, and you don't ever want to like pour the bucket out or like leave it on its side because then you're just gonna fill up a whole room with like blood. Yeah. And there's like it's just in a room, and you can't go in the room because you don't want people to knock it over. Some dumb shit. There's all sorts of stuff. There's like a fucking book. And you can't read the book because it'll go crazy or some dumb shit. All sorts of stuff. Anything you can think of, there's an SCP for it. It really is just like a creative writing experiment for the public rather than like an actual thing. Yeah. Which I think is what really gives it its charm.
We do an SCP tier list of every single one.
We'd be here for hours. That would it literally just be our entire fucking catalog of podcast episodes in one episode.
Okay, guys, let's flex our improv muscles here real quick, okay? Let's each come up with our own SPC off the top of the dome.
SPC.
SCP.
Okay, but we all have to do, like, something slightly different. Like, one of us has to do...
Do you guys know the classes?
I wasn't even going to go that deep. I was going to say, like, one person can do a monster thing, one can do, like, a weird phenomenon, and one can do, like, an object thing.
Okay, I'll do, like, a... I don't know what this would be classified as. This is just what I thought of. So you guys put in a box after I say it. So it is a thing that will just appear in your photos that you take. It's like the sort of like presence you can sort of feel in the room, but you can't actually see it at all. But when you take a photo, it will just be like some poorly photoshopped image of a guy in the space.
Okay. Is this something that can be contained? Like, is it like an actual, like, entity, but you just can't see it, it only shows up in photos? How deep does this
exactly.
go? Does it try to escape its inhabitant, or is it just kind of some dude that just exists and you can see it in photos?
Yeah, you can just see it in photos.
Will it just chill, and that's the whole point of like the boxes. There's fucking safe, Keter, Euclid.
When I said put in a box, I meant like categorize it the way that Tanner said it before. I wasn't talking about like the Keter and shit like that.
Well, I still want to do that anyways, you son of a bitch. I think it's
okay, fine, we can do that anyway.
Well, we could do both, and I'm not saying we can't do both. So like I just want all we need to know is, does this guy try to escape the box?
No.
Okay, then he's safe.
Yeah.
Like, you can lock it in a room. It'll, like, if it has, like, a handle, it'll, like, try and twist the handle or whatever. But, like, if it has, like, a lock, it won't be able to escape it.
Okay. Do you phase through it? Like, is it an invisible guy or is it a ghost? Okay, so it's like
an invisible guy.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a different photoshopped guy each time, too.
Interesting. I'll just call that a phenomenon, whatever.
Okay, sure.
Dude, I've got my next one. This is an object. It came to me because I'm literally looking at a candle right now. This is, in fact, a candle. And you just have to keep it burning. If it ever stops burning, it will immediately just suck up all the air within its vicinity. Like a fucking big black hole to suck up all the air. And of course, that leads to dire consequence to people. So this would, I guess, technically be classified as a Keter because you have to constantly be maintaining it, keep it lit at all times, or else it'll just go into fucking sucky suck mode.
There you go.
Okay,
and that's it. It's just a totally innocuous candle. It doesn't really smell like anything.
Nice. Okay, I have to come up. Fuck, I got the hardest one. Then I gotta come up with like a fucking monster.
That's the hardest one?
I feel like monsters are normally the easiest one.
I think coming up with a unique, interesting monster
fair enough.
is like the hardest.
I mean, it can be something generic and it's like this. It's a fucking dog with big teeth.
It's a dog with big teeth. It is a fucking... What's like an animal that... It is a... Okay, so it is a normal-sized and pretty normal appearance dung beetle.
Okay.
It has like a weird, I don't know, like a red stripe on its back or something, And its deal is that it wants to roll up everything like a fucking katamari.
I was about to say it's a fucking katamari.
It's a dung beetle that makes a katamari. And it works kind of the same way as katamari, where like if it's a brick wall, it can just loose the bricks right in front of it and shit. And so you have to it has like a preset dung starter. And so you have to keep the beetle separated from the dung, or else it'll roll everything up.
Okay.
Like, this could be, I assume if it goes with Katamari rules, if the ball gets big enough, it'll eventually be able to pick up massive things. Like, if it gets to the size of, like, a building, it can pick up a fucking building type shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it like, I don't know, it destroyed a section of Cairo or some shit before they were able to stop it.
I feel like this one you could probably classify as safe, because if you just have it in, like, an empty room, or even not even that, but like if you just have it like in some fucking box where it has no way of getting to the ball, there's not a whole lot it can do. It's just like a regular beetle, right?
Yeah. Maybe instead of like a starter ball, it can like shit.
Yeah, it just poops and makes its own.
You just need to make sure to clean its habitat.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this could be an actual like fun writing challenge we do at some point. Like we actually like make a more like in-depth like entry to the SCP wiki. Not like an actual formal one we publish to the website, but like we actually make like
Why not
a
post to the
document
website? Fuck it.
Well, I mean, if we want to, we could.
The winner is the one who's, because I think entries have to be approved.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I don't want to do that shit because we could get fucking denied, and that just sounds annoying. But
fair.
like
Well, I was gonna say the winner is the one or ones who get approved.
There you go.
There we go. I don't know how long it takes for them to approve it.
Impossible to say.
Yeah.
Truly, I've never tried to submit an SCP before.
Me either. Speaking of SCPs,
I can't wait to get my SCP on down over at Guapish at the movies.
Guapish at the movies. What?
What do they sing when they're crucifying Jesus?
I'm blanking on all my church music right now. That's embarrassing.
Hark the herald.
That's so funny. That's also the one that just popped into my head. What the fuck did we watch this week?
As everybody else was alluding to, our Patreon request this week, as requested by Athanasius, however the fuck you say that name, get a better name, buddy, was the 2004 film The Passion of the Christ. If you also want to get your pick requested and reviewed by us, go to guapish.com/Patreon, and for $1 a month you can subscribe, and every month you get to request one movie for us to watch, and potentially you could be just as lucky as this fun fella who got their movie picked. And this, of course, is the story of Jesus Christ. And what is your fun fact, Tanner?
Fun fact, Jim Caviezel was struck by lightning during filming, and an assistant producer of the film was struck by lightning twice during filming.
Were they like carrying lightning rods or some shit? How big were their boom mics? Who are these fucking dudes?
One of them was they were both together under an umbrella and got hit. And then there was a second time where, I don't know, the assistant producer just got fucking hit, man. I don't know. I was reading, there were a ton of injuries in this and like really weird shit going on.
No.
God was not happy about the production of it.
He did not want this film to be made.
Yeah, I guess not. Like Jim Caviezel genuinely got really like fucked up, injured bad during the course of this.
Yeah.
Like at one point, you know, he's carrying the cross on him and he has to stumble or whatever. That stumble like caused the cross to come down hard enough on him that it dislocated his shoulder. Or didn't dislocate.
How heavy was his
It
cross?
separated his shoulder.
They just made an actual big ass cross for him to
Yeah,
carry.
it's a for real cross. They wanted him to fucking really thug it out.
I assume so. That's what makes the most sense.
I mean, I think it makes sense just have it be a big foam fucking cross.
That's what I would think too, but no, they wanted him to suffer much like the real Christ.
Really putting him in character.
Also on the whipping scene, the way they were doing it is they just had like a wooden board on his back that they were supposed to hit. But there were 2 times they just missed and then actually flogged him.
Oh.
And one of them left, I think it was like a 17-inch permanent scar across his back.
Okay. Interesting. What I heard about like that whipping scene is the way that they did that was they basically just like did like all the makeup, which by the way, apparently the makeup for those scenes took like fucking like 10 hours or some shit like that to apply to him.
I can
And so
believe it.
what they did was they would just like have like all the wounds and stuff like that just like already on him, and they just like digitally make it so like he looked normal. And then like as they would like whip him, they just like scrub off like the, you know, like the normalness and make it like the actual makeup underneath it get revealed.
Interesting.
That is a
Okay.
very curious technique. Honestly, I feel like we could be talking about the techniques they use to apply these effects on these characters a lot more than we can actually talk about the movie itself. The movie's plot is pretty simple. It's just Jesus gets fucking thrown into the fire by the Jews, and then he gets tortured a lot and then crucified, and that's basically the whole movie. And it's kind of just watching some guy get tortured for an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, personally, I'm not a big fan of it where, like, there's required reading material for going into a film.
I unfortunately did not read the whole Bible before watching this. I failed you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I think the most interesting perspective out of the three of us on this movie is Jackson's. Jackson, is this movie engaging or interesting at all, not being familiar with the Bible and the story of Jesus previously?
No, I was pretty indifferent to all of this. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
this is just a movie about a guy getting fucking tortured for 2 hours. I didn't really get a whole ton out of it other than that.
It's a fast 2 hours, though.
Maybe to you. The silence speaks for itself.
For some of the scenes that I would be like, okay, Jackson, what does that mean? And he'd have no idea. So, okay, so here's the explanation.
Right.
That happened like 3 times. I was also, in fairness, I was also quizzing him a lot about random shit that was not entirely related to the movie. Just shit about Jesus and crucifixion in general.
Well, you see, Jesus is from Bethlehem.
Yeah.
You know he's from Nazareth, you fucker.
He was born in Bethlehem.
Yeah, you fucking pretentious little dick.
Yeah, I was... So, my main notes I wound up taking down is you have to read the book. I do think, like, there's definitely a baseline level of knowledge that they just kind of assume you have going into this film.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting period piece, like the display of, early Roman Judea and whatever. It's kind of interesting. I believe that Mel Gibson cares a lot about historical accuracy, so I trust that that's largely done.
Oh yeah, what about the fucking table then, dude? What about that table Jesus made? That was very obviously like modern looking wood that he was using to make it.
That goes into my third note, which is kind of goofy. There's a lot more goofiness in this. Like, that's just a straight up bit.
Yeah.
That's like a comment, the whole like, oh, in the ancient world, the first guy to do a modern thing, and they're like, that'll, she literally word for word says, this'll never catch on. Like that. That is such a cliche joke. It does not fit in this movie at all. I'm like, what?
It was very weird.
As Nico pointed out, all the ghouls, that is weird. Like,
So supposedly, what I've heard is that like Mel Gibson is like Roman Catholic, and so this is like a Catholic thing that stems from like some nun at some point had a bunch of visions about like what happened during the crucifixion, and I guess that's where like those like weird demon babies and stuff come from. Allegedly, from what I've heard, I'm not entirely sure, but
yeah. And that disciple who's like hiding under the bridge gets jump scared by like the nun from the Conjuring universe. Yeah, and that's one thing I mentioned to you guys. Like, as I'm watching this, I'm constantly going like, okay, is this something they made up for the movie or some weird Catholic thing I've never heard about?
yeah, exactly.
So that's very funny to learn that those ghouls are like a Catholic thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a story of Jesus. That stuff looks pretty unpleasant.
It does look pretty rough. I personally would not want to be in his shoes, and I'm happy he took those lumps for me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. I don't believe in you, but like, you're a fucking G for that one.
I mean, you don't believe him in a spiritual sense, but he was a guy and he died at the very least.
I mean, the fucking historical accuracy and ambiguity of his existence is still kind of up for debate.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I'm literally reading about this right now, and it's just tons of debates on people actually debating the validity of it. If it's just hearsay from people 2,000 years ago, if it actually is legitimate, like, actual fact. But I'm seeing a ton of conflicting answers, so I'm just going to lead myself currently with my 10 seconds of research as it's up for debate currently.
I don't think it is all that debated. Like, the Roman historians who have mentioned him are very well respected, and they're like used as sources on other events around this time period and not really questioned. So I think a lot of that is just people have an agenda to cast doubt on his existence and whatnot.
alas, you also have an agenda to cast, you know...
Dude, I'm
claim
not
that he
even
doesn't
an
exist.
active Christian right now.
Oh, well, you're more of one than I am, so I'm just gonna
True.
believe this is some fucking movie based on fanfic.
Yeah, I don't know. The effects were well done. The acting, they're not speaking English, so I can't really comment on the acting, to be
Subtitles are
honest.
fucking terrible, too. Holy
Yeah.
shit. And I got like half of what they're saying.
And what's weird is it seems like that's all intentional, because I watched it via, like, YouTube. So, like, presumably that it was, like, the official lyrics, or lyrics, the official
Lyrics.
subtitles. The Bible is written in a very poetic, method,
Yeah, almost like a song. Yeah, no, I think this movie is pretty boring for me personally. I didn't really get a ton of value out of it. I think the structure of it as a story is just okay. I think the big thing that's carrying it is just its set design. Obviously, the makeup is very well done. I think just the production of the movie is pretty good. I do like the flashbacks of comparisons to his life before. You know, he was fucking tortured and beaten, and him like thinking these thoughts of life before it. I think it's interestingly done. But yeah, this is kind of just like a nothing burger movie for me in the end.
My kind of thing is, like, why this ties into, like, you kind of have to have read the Bible or have some knowledge of Christianity to really get into this. Like, why would you care about his crucifixion if you're not super familiar with his teachings?
Yeah.
Because, like, they didn't really touch on, like, what he actually taught people that much.
Well, they didn't really tell us anything about why he was being crucified in general. Like, you could maybe even say, like, he's like a witch type thing, you know? Obviously, they're crucifying him because he's claiming to be a false god from their perspective, I think, but...
Yeah, they were just saying, like, oh, he claims to be the son of God, but they don't explain, like, why that's a bad thing at all, or, like, I don't know.
I kind of disagree.
Even show us him doing some magic or some dumb shit, you know? Like, fucking turning water to wine. I kept saying that, like, just turn fucking water to wine, prove to them you can do these things, heal somebody's wounds or some shit, and they didn't do any of that.
That's the thing. Like, in that day and age, people didn't really question, like, magical occurrences, so that wouldn't have actually meant anything to them.
That's because they didn't know what anything was, so everything's magic to them.
Yeah. They had one miracle in it where he heals the one guy's ear who got cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing, like, one of the Roman historians who mentions Jesus kind of offhandedly, he's like, yeah, people say he's a miracle worker, but he also grew up in Egypt, so of course he can do magic. So people, the fact that, like, he could do miracles, like, that no one questioned that for hundreds of years, because, like, no matter what you believe, you were like, yeah, magic is real.
And speaking of magic, his eyes, they were brilliant throughout this. Like, holy smokes. Apparently that was all done digitally as well. Those weren't, like, contacts they put in him.
Oh, yeah.
So much effort. Why not use fucking contacts?
I don't know. They had money
Jim
to burn.
Caviezel has naturally pretty eyes, though. We saw that in Sound of Freedom when he was watching children be raped.
Those motherfuckers, though, like, when people make jokes about, like, blue-eyed people all the time, that motherfucker had, like, green eyes or whatever, but he had blue eyes in spirit. Those things were captivating.
Weren't his eyes, like, orange?
I don't fucking know. I can't remember.
Okay.
There's some color that's
either.
abnormal.
Okay. I will say one other thing. I liked the depiction of Pilate in this film. I feel like in most, like, media and stuff like that, like what you're told, like, in Sunday school or whatever, is like, yeah, and then there was Pilate, and he was an evil man. He hated Jesus, or some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I remember at the very least.
That's never, I feel like it was pretty accurate to how I was always taught about him, where it was like, yeah, he didn't want to do this, but he was kind of forced by the circumstances of his era.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it was like, yeah, Pontius Pilate, he put Jesus to death. And that was about all they would say about him.
Gotcha. Now, I always got this more, like, nuanced version of Pilate, where it's like, yeah, because, like, in the Bible, it does have him say the line, like, I find no fault with this man, and I wash my hands of his death, or whatever.
Yeah. And, like, in this film, you very much so see that. He's like, why the fuck do these people not like this Jesus guy
Why
so
do they
much?
hate this guy
Yeah,
so much?
and he brings out Brutus or whatever, the murderer.
Yeah,
And
Barabbas.
yeah, and he's like, okay, do you want this chill guy to live, or this dude who's an infamous murderer who's killed untold amount of you? They're like, yeah, what? What is wrong with you people?
These fucking Jews, I swear to God.
Dude, speaking of the Jews, this is going to be the dumbest, most ignorant thing you've ever heard, but I think there's like the one meme template with the Jews, like, not, they're like fucking lambasting Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're wearing the same outfit. That's literally the whole comment.
Yep, that's the outfit Pharisees wore back in the day.
I'd never seen that outfit before outside of that meme, so it's like, oh my gosh, the meme.
Yeah, I learned a lot about what Jackson would be willing to put up with in a relationship through this film. He said that he would, in fact, be chill to have sex with his girlfriend if she forced him to wear that outfit.
As long as I'm getting laid, baby.
That's very fun.
Speaking of getting laid, let's hear what Dylan has to say about this film, assuming he told us what they are.
Alright, so this is gonna be my review of The Passion of the Christ. Man, what an interesting movie to review on this channel. I don't really know what to say about this movie besides, yep, this movie happened like it was explained in the stories that I've heard and in the stories that I've read. Plot pieces were very well done. Acting was fine, I guess. I like how this movie was in a language that's pretty hit or miss on knowing it, I guess. I'd imagine Hebrew is not very common. Also, love the fact that, I don't know if it was just specifically the version we watched, but how inconsistent the subtitles were. I think we mentioned before, like, only the main characters got their dialogue subtitled. I mean, this movie was good. I thought it was very competently made. I liked the dramatism in it. Yeah, I don't have any issues with this movie. I thought it was a pretty accurate retelling. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be the only one, possibly, who thought this way. I know there was some questions and some flags going off in the chat, so whether that was for better or for worse, I won't know until this review goes up and I hear that episode. But I do believe that maybe for other reasons. There's not a ton I could say about this movie. Much like my Girl Next Door review, it's a controversially, depending on who you are, this is based on a true story. So I can't really say too much. This is also just extremely weird for me to review in general, besides saying, yeah, it was a competently shot film with good acting, good line delivery, plot pieces looked great. Not much else to say. Given all that, I gave it an A-.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. Maybe you heard it, maybe not. I'm sure he had some fun takes somewhere in there. Speaking of Dylan's ranking, though, he gave an A-. That, Tanner, what's your ranking?
A-. Fair enough. I gave it a B+. I think it was an interesting movie. I think it's kind of cool to see this stuff, like, so faithfully adapted or whatever, but, like, strictly speaking as a story, it's, like, kind of whatever.
Yeah, I agree, which is why I'm giving it a C- personally, Jackson.
Whoa.
What about you?
Dude, I give it a C+.
Wow, okay.
I think
all over the board here.
Yeah.
I think it's just totally whatever. Like, I think it's a fucking average movie from, like, most standpoints, but I do think the thing that pushes it up a little bit for me is just the fact that the set and outfit designs were quite well done. And that's literally all I have to say. It's like a nothing burger with a cool set.
Yeah, it was okay. Wasn't I don't know. I didn't pull much from it personally.
Based. I expect it to be the lowest on this movie. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked by that too.
Nico's going to hell.
Oh.
True. I'm joining them. I'm gonna fucking drop it down to D+ later.
I'm sorry, dude. My hatred for the Catholics just really overpowered my love for Jesus in this film.
Fair enough, dude. One of my friends was like, dude, there's too much Mary stuff in this. You can tell it's Catholic. I'm like, I didn't even really notice that.
Is Mary a Catholic thing?
The Catholics, they love Mary. They're way into her. Like, listen, Catholics would fucking kill me for saying this. They put her, if it's like Jesus is here, Mary is like right here. Like they almost treat her as like a god, but they swear they don't.
Why? She's just some dumb broad that got knocked up early.
Quite frankly, I think it's slightly sacrilegious, and they sort of make her into an idol, but hey.
But they'll get very angry if you say that, and they'll start giving you a 5-hour lecture about how 4,000 years ago they fucking said, oh, this is what you can say about blah, blah. It's fucking whatever. Who cares?
Am I cool to put the Virgin Mary on the ultimate waifu ranking tournament?
I wouldn't recommend it.
I
would also like to just throw this out there real quick. I'm fine with you Catholics, okay? I don't really hold anything against you. I think some of your ideas are a little odd, but overall I think we have the same intentions here in mind. We're chill.
And I'll say to our Catholic audience, before I knew anything about Catholicism or had met any Catholics, I had a purely neutral opinion of you. And then after I started interacting with Catholics personally, I developed a slightly negative opinion, so it's your fault.
Yeah, I don't like Catholics because there's too goddamn many of you and you're clogging up the street I lived on, you fuckers.
What's the next movie?
Anyway. What group are we gonna make angry next?
Europeans.
Okay.
With Tanner's pick this week, which was the 1917 film from 2019.
That's right, 1917. It is the story of World War I. Fun fact, over 5,200 feet of trenches were built for this movie.
Fascinating.
Okay. They should have CGI'd them. They're stupid for that.
Yeah.
Nico, how did you like the movie?
You know, I thought that this was an alright sort of little flick. I can definitely tell it's a bit Oscar baity, but at the same time, you know, it was still alright. I enjoyed how it rhymed, you know? In the beginning of the film, they're walking away from a tree. At the end of the film, they're walking towards a tree.
Yeah, they do what you'd like expect a good movie to do for a lot of it. I think it's very visually compelling. I think more than anything, this is a visual movie. Yeah. Just especially since they kind of stick with the gimmick of, oh, it's a one shot.
Which I'd like to get your guys' take on that. How do you feel about the one shot?
I think it limits the movie's potential, and they literally don't even stick to it. There's a bunch of really obvious cuts that took me out of it. Like, you know, the most blatant one is when he gets fucking knocked down the stairs after getting shot. It's just like objectively a cut. They could have done so much with that scene, and they just didn't. And there's a lot of, like, you know, passing by rocks and shit. Granted, I realized why they did it. I think it's a cool idea, but I don't think it worked in this movie personally.
And what was the idea behind that, Jackson? Why'd they do it?
Because it looks cool and it's unique.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a fun thing to sell the movie on.
You're talking about, I thought you were saying, like, I know why they did the cut there, because it ended up looking cool. No. Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
They would have kept it all as, like, totally one shot if they could, but that's just, like, unfeasible. But yeah, I think it limits it. I think it acts pretty goofy all the time. Like, the fucking, holy shit, the whiplash from when his fucking buddy dies from getting stabbed, and then they just, like, there's just a battalion or squad that comes up, and it's just like it's just crazy.
Yeah,
that type of shit. And there's a lot of like it just moves too quickly, and it just seems fucking weird and unbelievable because of it. Like, this wouldn't have been a problem if they just chose to film this movie normally, and they didn't, because they had to keep up this interesting way of doing it, and it limited it a lot and forced scenes to be lesser than what they could have been.
I am happy to hear that from you. I was fully expecting to be like, yeah, it's crazy that they did this. Like, think of all the prep work they had to do for, like, this stuff. Like, I think it's neat to do it, but, like, I don't really give it any flowers beyond that. It's like, yeah, I think that I would have preferred it to be shot normally.
Yeah, legitimately, I don't think they even really utilize the effect super often, like, to like its fullest extent. Like, I think they could be an interesting technique to use, obviously in a lesser scale in some moments. Like, I think the effect worked a lot, like, really well when he was trying to get to the commander at, like, that last scene when he was, like, pushing through the crowd and, like, running on the field. I think it worked a lot well then because you're, like, following him in an interesting way. But a lot of them, it just seems like they're just doing it to just keep doing it, and it just feels kind of dumb and bad. Like, when he's fucking, like, trying to get across the river, he's getting, like, shot at, and, like, this feels kind of stupid. I don't know. I just don't think it really worked that well, personally.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't need to do it the entire movie. I think Like, even, like, you could just do it like, oh, anytime he's, like, literally in a trench, that's when we're doing one-shots or whatever, or something, like, tie it to the environment or something. I agree, they didn't need to do it the whole time, and also, like you said, when he gets knocked out, it's like, okay, we're not even pretending to be doing the thing anymore now. And again, I get why they did that, because, like, oh, we need to pass time. Fuck.
They could have done the passage of time in an interesting way, though. Like, I watched a review of it, and their solution to it I actually agree with a lot. They could have just, like, shown him on the staircase, for example, and then, like, maybe play with the light and have, like, you know, you can see the fucking sun setting, for example, and see, like, the light flicker out on him and then come back up when the, like, the fires start. That could have been an interesting way of, like, presenting what's going on in the story and keep up with the theme, and they just don't fucking do it. They just fade to black and then fade back in, and it looks like shit.
That's the exact thing that went through my mind as well for that. I'm assuming that, like, maybe they were like, oh, people will be confused, they won't understand, they'll think it just immediately happened, or some shit like that. Who knows, though?
If people want to be stupid, that's their prerogative, I guess. Let's see. One set piece I think was fucking awesome was those ruins that are getting lit up by the fucking flares.
Yeah,
that shit looked awesome. I don't know how compelling the action for that scene was, but, like, just visually, I'm like, damn, this looks like something I haven't seen in a movie before, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I do think that was a very pretty scene. Unfortunately, like you alluded to, I don't think the action worked in this. And it kind of leads into another one of my big criticisms with this movie is, holy shit, the fucking main character has main character energy and he just, like, cannot be killed. Yeah. Holy shit. He's just a fucking bullet dodger, man. He's in the Matrix. He just, like, it's just insane how he lived for so long. Like, he's getting pursued by many people and they just can't fucking hit him. He jumped into white water and doesn't immediately fucking drown like it's crazy. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and, like, a lot of the times, like, when he was running through those ruins, too, he was just, like, running in a straight line. Like, he wasn't really seemingly trying to dodge all that much, which is just very bizarre.
That didn't take me out of it too much, just because I was able to go, like, you know, it's World War II weapons. Sure.
It definitely took me out of it. This is fucking stupid.
Do you guys have any idea, like, how many times they had to, like, reshoot this film? Like, when it's like, oh, fuck, this person screwed up their line. Okay, let's... From the top.
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no clue.
I'd be interested to see, because it's like... for some things that are within your control, it's like, okay, yeah, well, like, you know, just, like, really make sure you memorize your lines and stuff like that, you know? But, like, for other things, it's like... What do they do if the baby is just freaking out and will not cooperate with the scene? Like, do they say, oh, well, I guess we're gonna have to take it from the top again. The baby's crying, even though this is supposed to be a nice emotional moment where she's like, oh, she really seems to like you.
Yeah, I don't know. I do remember reading that the longest, like, actual continuous uncut shot was 18 minutes.
Okay.
Props,
which is
so
impressive.
That's a very long shot.
I didn't notice too much stupid, like, flubs with it being a one shot. I did note that one of them was when in the, you know, big finale scene where he's running across the field and he, like, runs into a guy and the guy falls to the ground and then just doesn't get up. Like,
he died, dude. He had a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. And what's weird is he bumps into a second guy and that guy does get up and keep running. So I'm like, what is that? Guy
if I was that guy, I would have just lied on the ground too, okay?
He's like, oh, okay, cool.
I don't have to be cannon fodder anymore. Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Sarge, I got hit right at the beginning. That's crazy. Story-wise, I think story very simple. There's danger far away. Here's a time limit. A family member is involved. Go. But it's effective. It's not winning any writing awards, but, you know, it's an effective story of, like, okay, here's why we need to go a place, and here's why I should personally care.
Yeah.
Personally, I wish he hustled more, because I don't really feel like I felt the pressure of time as much as they were trying to make us feel the time limit. Specifically, I think the biggest scene that drew me out of that was when he just like goes and fucks around with that wife and her baby for a bit. Like I know he was like trying to seek cover for a second, but like, bro, you're on a fucking timeline, man. Get it moving. Like I was chasing, he was clearly incompetent. He ate shit. He fucking whipped 5 shots on you at point blank range. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only time I really felt the pressure of like the time was literally like right at the end when he was like actually where the battle was about to take place. It was like, oh, okay, this was serious. Yeah, he does really need to start hurrying.
Yeah. I thought the performances were really good. I really liked... In fact, I'd even go... Especially, like, the side characters, like Benedict Cumberbatch popping in here to
when
be...
he fucking came at the very end, I was so shocked. I was like, what the fuck is he doing in this shit? At the very end, like, the most minor character ever. He's just some fucking dude.
He's an important character.
Well, I know, but, like, in the grand scheme of the movie, he's not really. Like, he's the guy, the objective, but he was in the movie for fucking 2 minutes, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fun. I thought he did a great performance, though, for, those 2 minutes where it's like, yeah, this is the dickhead general that just wants to fight.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even know who the main character was until the fucking guy died, and then I figured it out. I think the dude that got stabbed did a good job. Honestly, I feel like the movie was a lot stronger before that fucker died. Once it was the dude solo, I think it started waning on me, because I think like the first half an hour, I would say, was a lot more engaging, personally, and then it started falling on me. Except for the rat scene. That shit looked dumb as fuck. Holy fuck, that rat looked so bad. And when it started fucking holding on to the stupid thing hanging, I was like, I know exactly what's gonna happen, and then it happened. Like, that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That rat looks so bad. Oh my god.
They definitely could have set that off more organically.
It felt like a fucking comedy sketch I was watching. Like, oh no, the rat's gonna drag the thing into the fucking trip mine. Hey, look at the trip mine. Oh no, the rat. Oh no. I was laughing at that person. I could not take it seriously.
Yeah, that was pretty goofy.
Is his buddy getting stabbed from the fucking pilot had to be busting to gut as well? That shit was goofy as hell to me too.
Yeah.
When he turns his back to go get the guy some water and he got fucking stabbed by him. I was like,
Right.
Yeah. Also, when he told his brother he died quick, I'm like, he didn't.
No, he suffered. He bled out from being stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah, that shit was brutal. Me when I lie.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to help out the brother.
Yeah, of course. Like, Tanner, if your brother fucking died in someone's arms, would you really want them to tell you, yeah, he really suffered in his death? It was not pretty at all.
You don't need to phrase it that way, but I'd probably want to know the details.
Yeah, he was fucking gutted and skinned, flayed even, and left suffering in a pit of acid for 10 days.
Damn, that's crazy, dude.
I do think the scene where he met with the brother was well done. I did feel the emotional impact of it, even though I didn't particularly care for it at that point. I was pretty uninvested with the movie. But I do like that final scene. I don't particularly like the way he finds the brother, just like, oh, there he is. But, I do think him reconciling with him was good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am glad to hear all this. I thought I was going to come into this being a fucking hater, but...
Honestly, same. I expected to come into this and you guys are going to be like, this movie's fucking sick, love the technique, and I was
Did you see that it was a one-shot? That was crazy.
I wanted to pick Dylan's brain and see if he noticed that shit. I guess we'll never know.
Here, I'll pretend to be Dylan. You ask me about that.
Did you notice any cool film technique they used in this, Tanner? Dylan?
I mean... I guess they kind of, were shooting from behind them a lot. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, awesome. You got it. Congrats.
If you want to hear Dylan's more in-depth thoughts, we're going to hear it right now.
Alright, so this is going to be my review of 1917. And I'm going to do my best to recall... I do remember this movie being very good. I did like the cinematography. I really liked how this movie was shot. I'm also just a big sucker for kind of just any older, like World War II, World War I movies. And I think this movie had a really interesting take on events. Now, this was a very, very slow-paced movie, and there wasn't a ton going on, but I think the way that the movie was keeping it interesting with its environments, the environments were really good, and I think adding more emotion to the story was also a big benefit. One thing I thought was a little bit of a weird call, and this was just me, maybe it's just my wanting people to survive, I don't really know, but I think killing the dude's brother so early on in the movie was kind of a weird call, I think it probably would have been fine if they had done it at some point, but having it done that early was just a little out of the blue, kind of, in a way. I feel like this movie could have benefited from a little more camaraderie throughout the whole thing. Like, I do like the whole lone wolf, lone ranger thing, this guy going around and fulfilling the mission. But, I mean, I think regardless, this movie still could have benefited from even both of them making it to the very end. I don't know, there were those points of emotion where they were trying to invoke it, which I'm not saying they didn't do that, but it kind of just felt missed. But other than that, yeah, like, I think this movie is very beautifully shot. I think that the acting was fairly good. It was really funny seeing Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie. It's very interesting, funny role to see him fulfill, but regardless, but yeah, I really liked this movie a decent bit. Like I said, I'm a sucker for World War I, World War II, just, older, based in history movies. So I gave 1917 an A+.
What's
Maybe.
a one-shot?
I don't know.
That's crazy. Yeah, honestly, I was going into this movie expecting some fucking peak war shit with the way, I saw some review numbers about it, and I've heard about it before when it was coming out.
Yeah, I heard good things about this film.
It was substantially slockier than I expected it to be.
As a theater experience, this one gets bumped up quite a bit.
I'm sure this felt a lot cooler to watch in theaters.
Yeah.
On my fucking little TV, it wasn't the most immersive experience ever.
Ranks?
Are we ready for ranks?
Yeah, I guess we're ready for rankings. So, Dylan gives him an A+.
Sounds about right. He did notice it was a one-shot then.
Yeah.
I gave it a B- personally.
Ah, damn. I'm not the lowest this time. I'm a B.
Okay. We're a bit all over the board again. I'm at an A-.
Okay.
A-, and that lands it at a B+ overall.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Another one to the pile, as they say.
Typical. Speaking of B+ tier films, though.
There's no way you think that the 2007 film, aka Nico's pick this week, The Girl Next Door, is a B+. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so The Girl Next Door is the story of a young boy who has a cool cat move in next door, along with her sister, who end up being brutally tortured by their aunt, and she dies. Tanner, want to tell us a fun fact about this film?
Fun fact, the author of the book that this movie is based on cameos as the carnival ticket taker.
Oh, that's fun.
Fun fact, most of this movie was me just mouth agape, pointing at the screen and looking over at Nico, and then looking back at the screen and then looking at Nico again a lot.
Yeah, this is a rough one to watch. This isn't
even the worst version of this story.
I'd really be curious to get set up all of the disturbing films we've watched thus far and rank them on how disturbing we found them, because this one absolutely is up there. Holy shit.
Yeah, fucking Dylan, let's do some preface here because I think it's funny. Dylan was lying to us about having watched this movie previously, and it was right after Nico and I finished it. I had notified the fucking boys that the rest of the movies for the week were uploaded on my Plex, and he said that he had already watched this movie and said it wasn't that bad, and I was so confused what the fuck he was talking about, because he reacts very dramatically to movies like this, and to say it wasn't that bad is just asinine. I could not believe it. The moral of the story is he hadn't watched it, so it doesn't matter. We'll never know his true thoughts unless he says them at the end of this review. But
yeah, I mean, it's based on true events. Cope aside, yes, it's a fucked up movie. Was there any motivation for the aunt beyond oh, she's just fucking crazy?
I think it's that she sees this girl who has the whole world in front of her, and the aunt has already made a bunch of terrible mistakes that have put her into the terrible position she is in life, and it's these girls who actually have a lot of potential, they're just strutting about. I need to put an end to that. I don't like seeing what could have been or whatever.
yeah, exactly. All I got from the movie is that the mom was just incredibly envious of the daughter. She's constantly talking about her sex potential and shit. And I think she just realizes she's some old woman and she kind of fucked up in life, and she just wants to put her down because she is who she wants to be.
Yeah.
Dude, I was constantly thinking, watching this, I'm Is the aunt gonna fuck the kids? It feels like she's going to.
Didn't they say that the whole thing that kicked it off is that she tried like masturbating one of the girls or something, and she rejected it, and that's what like made it escalate?
I don't recall that at all.
I feel like I remember hearing that at the end. Like that was like the first event. Like it was the sister, I think, had said something about that.
I vaguely recall something along those lines. I don't remember.
I'll go look it up later.
Okay.
We can verify this off the podcast, and you can put a big yes on the screen when I say that or some shit.
All right, yeah, I'll bring up the oft-forgotten fact check box I have.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, these types of movies are very hard for me to rank. On one hand, this movie's dog shit because it's really hard to watch, and also it's just not very good. But like the fucking acting in this movie is fucking terrible.
Oh my god, this film fucking lures you in early on, and like, yeah, this is just gonna be some goofy ass film. Like, this shit's dumb, but then it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I had no idea what the fuck I was going into. Like, legitimately, I thought it was relatively benign for the most part until it was like they walk into the basement, and I'm like, it'd be crazy if they had her like chained up in the basement, and then they fucking got her tied up in the fucking basement. I was like, no fucking way. That's the type of movie we're watching right now. Okay, I get it. But like, let's say in a hypothetical world that this movie actually was like well shot. The acting was good, you know, like from a production standpoint, this movie's great. But like, we're watching some fucking teenager get tortured and raped in a basement.
Yeah.
How do you rate a movie like that? It's really fucking hard because I can't conceptualize that because they're like, I want to rank movies. Obviously, this is some pretentious shit, but I want to try to rank movies what I think they're like objectively are rated. But also, it's hard because my subjective experience in this and the reason why it was created in the first place draws onto it a lot, and this makes me think that Dylan has the most go-to way of ranking movies, and it's just how he enjoys them, and that's 100% of what the ranking is, and I think he's badass for that. And I'm going to that ranking. This movie's an F-.
Well, hang on, I'm sure there's still some more stuff we can talk about before we get to the rankings.
Is there?
Okay, so I have a bit of history with this film, okay?
What?
You watched this with your first girlfriend.
No. So...
He was that boy.
No. So... As you guys are aware of, there's a 2004 film called The Girl Next Door. And that one is just like some shitty ass comedy. It's about like some girl getting into porn or some shit like that. And my sisters watched this film when I was growing up, when I was just a wee little lad. And, you know, my mom wouldn't let me actually see anything. She'd be like, no, turn around. I'm like covering up your eyes. You're not allowed to see any of this shit or whatever. And so, in like middle school, that was around the time in which I was just like looking up like random movies or like, you know, music videos that had nudity in them so I could like, you know, get my rocks off to them. And so I remembered The Girl Next Door and I was like, oh, I'm going to see what that was all about. And so I looked it up on YouTube and I found The Girl Next Door, full movie. And so I turned that shit on. I was ready to have a gay old time. And I was just horrified by what I saw in this film.
Understandable.
Yeah. I think I went like a week without being able to JO after that. It was just, the thought of this was too much for me. It gave me shame.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't ever see a movie like this. Like, the worst that I saw as a child was fucking Waxwork, and you guys all know that movie. This movie would have traumatized me as a child. Like, I don't think I could even come close to, like, our fucking house's basement, for example. I just, like, get flashbacks of this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They do some horrible things to this poor girl. It's fucking terrible. Like, every time you think they're gonna stop being terrible, they just escalate, and it's very shocking. You know?
It's
I can't believe, too, the fucking kids. The mom lures the kids into doing it too, presumably because they're like giving them a position of power over this girl, and they can like, you know, utilize their fucking sexual fantasies on it. It's so fucked up though, man. Oh my god, what else is there to say about this movie? It's fucked up, and the acting is horrible. Oh my god.
Yeah. I guess Nico, talk about the real life shit.
Yeah, so the real life was much worse, actually. Honestly, I don't want to really go into details. Just trust me, it's really bad. She had to endure a lot of terrible bullshit in that house. Like, there are like a few details that are changed because this film was based off of the book that was based off of the real events where he like changes some stuff. Like, you know, that boy in the film like wasn't actually a person. Like, he didn't didn't really try to like get her to escape or anything like that. No, instead she was just like kind of suffering on her own. And yeah, at the end of the day, she just kind of fucking died due to like all of the brutal shit they were doing to her and malnourishing her. So pretty rough all around. Also, they got like, I think it was like 5 or 6 of the people into court to like try and punish them for this. The mom figure, she was actually like not an aunt, she was just like her friend's mom or some shit like that who's taking care of her. And so she got like 15 years for all this shit and then got let out.
It is insane how often women just get off easy for these insane crimes.
It's brutal, dude.
Yeah, she should have been put to fucking death. Oh my god.
Yeah, they tried for it. I forget why they couldn't go through with it, though. There was like some dumb reason for it. But yeah, pretty rough.
Fun fact, there is not another version of this movie, that'd be disingenuous to say, but there is in fact another movie based on the same story that is supposedly more accurate to what actually happened. It's also a more well-received movie. This movie is kind of mixed, and the other one's kind of like more leaning towards good.
Yeah, and that one came out the same year.
Huh.
Did it come out the same year? That's
yes,
crazy.
it came out the same year.
What's that one called?
An American Story, I think.
It's an American Murder, I think.
Some shit like that. An American subtext.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for who's going to pick that eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. We can compare and contrast the films.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Hopefully it's sometime soon so it's fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't intend on picking another disturbing film for a little bit here. I wanted to do the 1-2 hit here, but yeah, this one was a bit much, I think.
Yeah, understandable. I'm fine without it.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, no
Do you have
biggie.
anything else to say?
Does Dylan?
This review is going to be for The Girl Next Door. Yeah, this is just another one of those that, by the way, the story happened in real life movies. Kinda hard to ridicule the plot and all that when it's one of those kinds of movies. The plus, I guess I'll say, for this movie is, unlike Compliance, this movie didn't feel... I don't think I mean this as much as I do, but it just felt... It didn't feel like it didn't need to be made as much as Compliance. I think this movie was better, like, made better. It's just so hard with movies like this. I'm not rating it very much higher than Compliance. I thought Compliance was extremely disturbing. Not that this movie wasn't extremely disturbing. It's just so hard with movies like this. And I think at this point, the only thing that I can say about rating this movie the way I did is I would much rather watch this over Compliance, because I don't know. I felt like this movie had more personality. I feel like the tone it was trying to get to the audience was a little bit better. It's just really, really hard to say. Regardless of what I say about either of these movies, this movie in particular is still extremely fucked. I don't really know what to say outside of that. This movie was okay. I wouldn't watch it again, but I still thought it was better than Compliance. For that reason, I'll just go ahead and give it a D+, I guess.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I guess we'll only know in the future. Dylan's rank, though, was a D+.
Very generous.
I can understand that. I think I'm gonna go F+ personally.
I gave it a flat F, personally.
Okay.
I'm putting this on par with I Spit on Your Grave, because there was a bit more production that went into that movie at the very least, and it was kind of entertaining from a schlocky perspective. This movie is just hard to watch, and it's not very well produced.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot. It's not like they're fucking their unborn child or some shit, but you know, it's still not a movie I'd ever want to witness again.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I agree. I gave this one an F+ as well.
I'm shocked that Dylan is the highest rated on this movie. I'm curious why he gave it such a high score.
Did you confirm that he watched it?
Yeah, I saw that he watched it on Plex. Again, like I said, I don't know if he actually finished it. I don't know how far away from the end he was. Like he said that he couldn't finish it for whatever reason, but I don't know why that is, or if he actually ended up finishing it.
Surely, if he couldn't finish it, he would not give it a D+, though.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to see the ending. He's like, oh, well, I guess she just keeps getting tortured and then dies. Haha. Anyways, that lands it at a D- overall. God damn it, you fucker, Dylan. You kept it out of F tier.
You know, there's just some merit to it, I think.
I think we might need to audit that ranking from him.
We just might need to. Let's ask him what happens with the blowtorch, and if he gets it wrong, then we remove his rank.
Based? Make him watch the fucking movie again?
Yeah.
Anyways, as for the picks this week,
Yeah.
hopefully something a bit nicer than these three hard-to-watch movies.
I
wouldn't
sure
say
hope
1917 is
so.
hard to watch, but the other two definitely were pretty hard to watch.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're starting off with a banger here. Dylan's pick, How to Train Your Dragon.
That'll be a very
original,
nice
of
change of
course.
pace, I think.
This is probably the best shot he has at getting his first S tier.
This is certainly one of the best movies he's picked. I do not think I'd put this in S tier or even close to it.
I don't think so either.
Me either.
Maybe he gives like an S plus, and that really drags it up with our like low A's and high B's or some shit. Of course, I'm going to do the thing I'm gonna just always do, I guess, from now on until I get bored of it. I'm gonna ask you guys if you prefer an animated or a real life acted movie. Dylan has already said he wants animated, or he wants a real life movie because he picked an animated movie.
I'm going animated this time around, dude. It's been 2 for 3 so far. Not 2 for 3, 2 for 2 so far. They've had a live action movie. I'm thinking animated. Let's hear it, dude.
I actually agree with Nico. I would like an animated movie from you.
Guys, I'm so fucking glad you said that, because unfortunately my live action one was in fact an American Crime, the 2007 film. You guys dodged the bullet. I was trying to allude to that was what I was gonna pick during the review. I don't know if you guys even attempted to pick up on that.
No, I didn't.
I hope somebody picked it soon, so it's fresh in our mind. But thank God we're not watching that. The animated film I'm watching, or we are watching, is the 2013 film Kagehime no Monogatari.
Oh, okay. Do we need to have seen Monogatari to enjoy this film, do you think?
This is not a Monogatari film.
Oh, okay.
Monogatari just means story in Japanese. This is a Ghibli film, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's one I've never seen, but people in like their subjective rankings of Ghibli films, I've seen this one highly rated a lot. Like people say like it's their favorite Ghibli film of all time, and they say like it's like a transcendent emotional experience, and I'm curious about what the fuck they mean by that.
What's the American name for this film?
I don't fucking know. Princess Kaguya's Story or some shit,
The
probably.
Tale of Princess Kaguya.
I'm fucking goated, dude. Yeah, Hime means princess.
Okay.
Monogatari, story, tale, whatever. So yeah, we can put the pieces together.
There we go.
Yeah, so and then of course we also have our Patreon request. Let's fucking roll that sucker, see what we get. And this week we are watching Frozen, the
Oh my
2010
God.
film Frozen, as requested by Lavaskin. Thank you for the request.
Dude, I can't wait to build a snowman. And if you too would like to have your movie requested from the Patreon, then all you have to do is go on over to patreon.com/Guapish or Guapish/Patreon, where you can subscribe for just $1 a month, just a measly little dollar. And with that, you get access to our pre-Guap pre-show, early access to each of our episodes. You can also talk to us in our Discord. You can request movies and topics just like Lavaskin did. You even get 500 slime coins, and of course, you also get your name read out at the end of each and every episode, just like I'm about to do right now. Thank you very much to GH, Slade by J, Blake, Nedagant, I Love Lesbians, Toperman Man, Guapish, More Like Dog Piss, Tupbot, Lucas Lidette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you very much, everybody. And of course, I hope you feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring a ding that bell. We'll be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.